Welcome to another episode of Talk to the Fedora, chatting about hard-hitting, honest entrepreneur wisdom that you can use to grow your small business. My name is Jarrod Goldsmith from eSAX Networking and Sax Field Productions, and today we're very pleased to be welcoming Sem Ponnambalam of Xahive on our segment. Sem is the founder of Xahive and is a globally recognized cybersecurity strategist spanning both the private sector and the Canadian federal government. Sem previously served as a senior trade policy advisor to Prime Minister Stephen Harper and Justin Trudeau, as well as multiple federal cabinet ministers. She's represented Canada on the global stage as a cyber panelist at the World Economic Forum and the G20 Youth Summit, and she was also the only startup founder selected to join Prime Minister Trudeau's official business delegation to Italy. Under her leadership, Xahive has negotiated global partnership arrangements with IBM, Red Hat, and BlackBerry, while building strategic relationships with the United Nations, NATO, the U.S. Department of Commerce, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Cyber Intrusion Group, London and Partners, the New York Academy of Sciences, HIMSS, and many others, elevating the company's international footprint in cybersecurity innovation. Sem's been recognized by KPMG, Viva Technology, and 50 in Tech as one of the, quote, 10 women-led startups to invest in globally. And she's also received special U.S. congressional recognition for her participation as a cybersecurity panelist at the World Summit on the Information Society. A prolific thought leader, Sem has co-authored 3 books on cybersecurity, publishes widely, and is frequently interviewed across North American media. She also lectures facility cybersecurity governance workshops for businesses, associations, and academic institutions across North America and Europe. With a deep global experience, multilingual fluency, and a passion for strengthening cyber resilience worldwide, Sem brings a rare blend of public policy expertise, private sector innovation, and international leadership. Wow, Sem, that's quite an intro. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Jarrod. It's many decades of work. So thank you. I definitely, you can tell the gray hair. So yeah.
Well, Sem, the wisdom that you have and being a woman in a leadership position, this segment will be influential to really help other people. So Sem, let's jump right in. Where are you calling in from, please?
I'm calling in from Ottawa, Canada. So, Jarrod, I have to say, I'm so excited to be part of eSAX. I've been part of your journey, I think, since 2014, and prior to that, our relationship goes back to the time that we both worked at Global Affairs Canada. So I'm just so grateful and honored to be part of not only your journey currently and over the years, and just from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all the support that you've given me, and really honored to be part of this podcast today. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Sem. There's not many people who knew me way back when, before the Fedora, when I was in government. So it's a pleasure to stay connected after all these years and see all the success. I had to shorten your bio. It just went on and on. It was amazing. And
likewise.
It's very easy to have the time here, Sem, because I know that you're in quite high demand across the world for your specialties.
Thank you. And so are you, Jarrod.
Well, thank you very much. So let's delve in a little bit more. I gave a quick intro about what Xahive is, but can you explain a bit more about the organization and who is Sem?
Yeah, so thank you so much for that question. So, Xahive came about because of my own cyber breaches. This was while I was working, as you know, with the feds, and having held those security clearances, I was really concerned. I did not want this to happen to other professionals. So I pulled the skill sets together along with my co-founder, and we began Xahive. The journey was to essentially protect professionals, to make sure their personally identifiable and personal health information was protected when they are working with any of their clients or their supply chain. So that's how Xahive began. I guess for me, I have obviously the trade policy experience. I have all these transferable skills that I've obtained over the years, having worked for both private sector and public sector. And I pulled all of those skill sets together and then, built Xahive. And it's been an ongoing journey. I'm continuously learning every day, especially being in the tech space. So it's really important to have, I think, a growth mindset for sure. But so that's who I am. And I'm also a single mom. So super proud of that. And I think that also makes sure that when I do things, I do it with conviction. And I know that what I do today will have a positive impact on future generations. So that is part of that process as well. So that's who I am. Thank you.
I think, just having that mind frame, Sam, what you're doing now is building something to make life easier, to make a business more efficient
Yeah.
and, impactful, because everybody can appreciate the concept of cybersecurity. But a lot of people, I'd say, and even organizations, don't really fully understand it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think the issue is everyone talks about the tech aspect.
Yeah.
And I think what I bring to the team is I have a wonderful team, don't get me wrong, of experts with great backgrounds, in technology. And for example, my chief science officer is a former professor of emeritus from University of Waterloo. He sold his company back then to BlackBerry in the 90s. So I'm very lucky to have the people that I have on my team. But I think what I can bring to the team is I can speak with like about governance, risk, compliance from a
Mhm.
non-technical perspective. So the rest of any business team or any non-technical people within an organization actually understand the importance of why cybersecurity is needed. And it's not just a tool, that it is a holistic approach. So
Yeah.
that is, I think, the skill set that I'm able to bring in from having worked in these different sectors and different backgrounds over the years.
Sure. I wanted to touch on something you quickly mentioned. You glossed over that you could take the technical jargon and put it into everyday human conversations.
Yes.
A lot of times when I interview people in the tech industry, or I see people at event and they go into the weeds of technical stuff. And I said, no, 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 no. I just want to get to know you a bit more. But
Yeah.
you have that special skill set. And
Thank you.
Sam, let's talk a bit about who would resonate most from watching this segment today.
I think anyone who is, first of all, an entrepreneur who just wants to understand a little bit of tech, who also wants to understand what it takes to be an entrepreneur and what are the gaps that we face, what are some of the weaknesses, and also some of the strengths that we bring to society, because people don't really understand how hard entrepreneurs work. Like they do not know the blood, sweat, and tears that goes behind it. Because oftentimes we're only highlighted for all of our, accomplishments, but no one knows, Jarrod, except for the few of us that have kept in touch, the ups and downs. Like nothing is ever, a constant. It's a roller coaster ride, but you
Yeah.
got to have the grit to stick with it and power through it, because not everyone can actually maintain that, and you have to have consistency. So that's super important too.
Yeah, it really, really is. And so, Sam, before you decided to launch, did you have a background in business or entrepreneurship?
Well, I didn't study business per se. I am a fourth generation, I guess, a lineage of entrepreneurs on both sides of my family. We I mean, business was very important. It was something that was taught to me as a child. My dad taught me about supply and demand because he was teaching
Yeah.
political economy. So, as a kid, I was like taught these concepts when most kids were probably just learning about other things, right? So I was very lucky to have had the parents that I had. And of course, having had the work experience that I've had as well, being in trade policy and representing Canada before, not even with the company, but internationally and domestically, that gave me those skill sets, and I'm so grateful for those opportunities. I may have not had the traditional business background, but I certainly learned it, I lived it, and I think it's part of my DNA.
Yeah. I mean, you found the need. You saw that there was a disconnect there,
Yeah,
and you launched Xahive to help the other people and organizations realize the potential or even the pitfalls of cybersecurity.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So Sam, I remember when you first launched, you were out and about in the community. I'd see you all the time at events, and then
Yes.
seeing all the success. So that speaks to the collaboration angle. How important has been the concept of collaboration for you?
I think it's super important. Without collaboration, you just cannot do anything solely. Even within your organization, within your business, you need to be able to collaborate among your coworkers, your
Right, right.
supervisors, your value chain or your supply chain, because the more people you speak to, the more people you'll get input from, and you can actually learn the pros and cons. You can learn from them. What are the lessons learned? What are the best practices? Who are the network connectors? Who can connect you? It's really about building a community, and it's not just about going out there and saying, "Oh, what can you do for me?" It's more like, "What can I help you with?" Because if you have that mindset, more people would be willing to come towards you,
Mm.
more willing to network with you, more willing to collaborate with you, and more willing to build those partnerships. And just because I'm in cyber and Jarrod, you do what you do, it doesn't mean, we don't have synergies, right? So it's about making sure that you don't take these relationships as being transactional, but
Mhm.
in fact building those relationships. And I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? But you learn from each of those experiences, and that's something that's super important for me.
Absolutely. You touched on the word networking.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite topics. I love talking about this. But you've been to a lot of events. You've hosted
Yep.
your own. Are you able to share some of your favorite networking tips?
I think for networking, first of all, as I mentioned before, it's not about what can I gain from you. It's about, hey, I'm Sem. Let me tell you about my story and see if I can be of help to you. Because it's all about building those relationships and connections.
Mhm.
And it doesn't happen overnight, and it's not a transactional thing. And it's about, and even if I can't help you directly, if I know someone else that can help you, Jarrod, I'm more than happy to say, hey, you know what? I think you should connect with Jarrod, or I think this person should speak to Jarrod because there's an opportunity, there's a synergy, and those are those meaningful connections that will one day turn around and say, guess what? Sem may not be in my space, but she's always been referring me to people or connecting me with people. Very much so what you do, Jarrod.
Yeah.
You are a pro at it. I don't think I've ever met anyone as well networked in Ottawa than you. And I'm not saying this because I'm a close friend and I admire everything you've done, but I think you are by far one of the best people. And I've networked around the world, so I can tell you, you are by far one of the top people I know in terms of networking. And I'm just grateful and honored to be your friend and also part of your circle.
Oh, thank you, Sam. I'm blushing underneath this hat.
Oh,
That's very kind. But let me let you in on a little secret, or maybe not so
yeah.
secret. That when I first launched the music business, I didn't
Yeah.
have much to offer everybody, and I knew it. But
Mhm.
I was very open to sharing my resources and being a
Yeah.
go in between to help
Yes.
and connect others. And I've always thought it doesn't matter what industry you're in, even if you might not see that synergy like you talk about,
Mhm.
there are other ways to collaborate. There are other ways to help connect, bridge those gaps. And Sam, I mean, you've seen this when you share people's contacts, and
Yeah.
like you said, it takes years to develop that
Mhm.
relationship. And I agree. And I think that's why everybody says it takes 5 or 10 years for that overnight success.
It really does. And they think, oh, wow, look how amazing it is. And no one knows the hard
Yeah,
work,
the hard
time, and
work.
effort that goes into that. And
Yeah.
you were 200% correct on that, Jarrod.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sam.
You're welcome.
Let's talk about mentoring or coaching.
Yes.
First, did you ever have a mentor or
Oh
coach?
my
And
gosh. I
do
still
you?
have mentors
Yeah.
to this day. I am so grateful. I have some amazing mentors, and they're my teammates as well, of
Yeah.
course. But I mean, they've been doing this for some of them 40 plus years. So, I learn from each and every single one of them. And I not only have those mentors, but I've had mentors from back in the day from having worked with the feds, my private sector mentors, my not for profit mentors. You're a mentor for me, Jarrod, and it's all these wonderful, amazing people who can give you positive, like, feedback. You want to surround yourself with people that uplift you and that help you grow. And you always want to surround yourself and be in a room where, to be honest with you, you're the least intelligent person, because you want to absorb from everyone else and all the wonderful, tools and skills and advice that they bring to you. And that is what I love. And I'm so grateful that I was taught to have this, like, growth mindset, which enables you to continuously grow like that. And I also mentor younger people. I've been doing this. I work with new graduates from Willis College, for example, here in Ottawa. Some folks from Ottawa U, Carleton. I've been mentoring since I've started. Um, Specifically on Xahive related, cyber, AI, post quantum. And I also work with a community based out of California as well, in Southern California. And my goal is, and I have a ton of mentors, across Ontario and Canada, that I've helped along the way. And I'm so happy to say they are so successful. And I am grateful that I played a tiny little part as part of their journey. So it's like they're like my children in a way, my
Well,
mentee children. So yeah,
well, the more that you grow, you're in an opportunity to help others.
yeah,
And I've always thought that's going to come back in spades down the road.
of
Well,
course.
keep that up, Sam. You're really making a difference here.
Thank
Um,
you.
Sam, let's talk a bit about money or cash flow tips.
Hmm.
People starting up in every industry, they have
Hmm.
to deal with this at some point. Are you able to share some of the tips that you
Yeah.
come up with?
So, in terms of money and cash flow, I think the biggest thing is it's not about just making the big bucks and then being able to spend it. Because, I mean, you need to be, especially if COVID and all these, like, the economic uncertainties that we're living through right now, it's that cash flow matters more than hype, right?
Mm,
Growth is exciting, but sustainability is really your freedom as an entrepreneur. So I think the biggest thing is, don't build for applause. You need to build for stability, especially if you plan on being in this, whichever entrepreneurial space for 5 to 10 years, as you said. And you need to make decisions that protect the long term goal. So nothing short term.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, really, really important. And a lot of that, I would say, comes down to processes. What
Yes.
are some of the process that you've enacted with Exahive, Sam?
Well, I mean, getting the right people, like having bookkeepers, having advisors and mentors, as I mentioned, because they've lived through this, right? You
Mhm.
learn lessons learned, best practices, making sure you have the right accountants, because um, sometimes they may be good at a certain stage, but if you've outgrown them, you need to also be willing to get the skill sets from, those folks. Having attorneys that can advise you along those paths, right? So always ensure that you not only surround yourself with the best, but you go in as a team, and your team also can keep up with those skill sets and necessary things.
Yeah, yeah, you build up your team, and everybody benefits from that. Yes, yeah, I love it.
Thank
So
you.
let's talk about time management. For many entrepreneurs out there, that maybe they're a single parent raising a child, they're
Yep.
dealing with family issues, growing and building a business. How does time management play into all this?
Well, it's deeply personal to me. And early on, honestly, Jarrod, I tried to do everything myself, right? I learned that being busy isn't the same as being effective. So as I mentioned before, it's super important to make sure you have the right teams and the right tools and the right processes in place to help you execute in a timely manner so you meet those objectives along your roadmap, and you're not like, oh, I wish I would have done that, but here we are a year later. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
now, for me, it's very important. I protect my time. I prioritize accordingly, obviously. And that you need to be flexible too, right? Especially being an entrepreneur, because you may have these goals and objectives, but COVID hit or current
Yeah.
economic situation happens, right? So you need to be flexible, you need to be adaptable, but you need to also create a space to think. I mean, you can't just execute. I get up super early in the morning and I spend a good hour to 2 hours, not just, drafting what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the day, but also looking at what's happened in the space. What's the latest news that I may have missed, overnight, because it's not overnight. It's overnight here, but it could be daytime elsewhere, right? So
Right.
around the
Right.
world. So, and clarity comes from stillness. So I think it's really important to have good strategic plans, to have good strategic advisors, and it's not just about producing things.
Yeah. And I think some of that also plays into, like you talked a bit about the work-life balance, the
Yeah.
adaptability, the resiliency. But what about mental health for entrepreneurs? We hear it a lot these days. It's coming more
Yeah.
into play. And how does somebody juggle, let's say, mental health and running a business?
It's so important. Entrepreneurship can be so isolating.
Yeah.
So it's really important I'm a big believer in getting help when, not just when you feel it's needed, but especially being an entrepreneur, I think it's important to have someone you could talk to, like who is a specialist in this area. So it's really important to get therapy. I I live by it. As I said, I'm a single mom, so I have a ton of pressures, not just being an entrepreneur. So, um, and it's really important because when you seek the help, you take care of yourself physically and emotionally, and you eat right, you sleep. Sleep is so important. And as entrepreneurs, I'm the first person to say, that's a work in progress for me. I need to really focus on that and
Yeah.
try to get in that good 8 hours of sleep. It's very hard, but it's really important. And I've learned that mental health isn't optional, right? You have to build those good habits from the ground up. For me, this means reflecting, having conversations with other trusted people like yourself, Jarrod, and of course, creating boundaries and not just saying yes to everything, because you can't pour from an empty cup, and that's something I've
Yeah.
had to learn along the way, and I'm still working on that.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody talks about, I mean, there's a movie, right? Say yes to
Yeah.
everything, but you can't.
Yeah.
Learning to say no is a skill,
Yes.
and it's not an easy one to learn.
Hmm.
Mm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. For
So,
sure.
Sam, let's move on to some of the successes that you're most proud of. I know we could talk about this for another hour, but if you could
Yeah.
summarize one or two instances that you've been very pleased.
Well, I think the first thing is, I mean, we survived COVID. I mean, hooray to every single one of those entrepreneurs who survived. I know we all have our bruises, we all have our battle scars, but that was huge. It was a very tough time. And then I also was undergoing my own personal health issues. I underwent emergency open heart surgery. Like I've gone through quite a bit during this time.
Yeah.
And of course, the journey of being a single parent. So, but I think the biggest thing is that we have a company, it's growing, we are expanding. We are now looking at opportunities, not just in North America, of course, but we're looking at opportunities in Europe and in Asia.
Yeah.
So we are super excited, and I'm also very excited that our team has grown. Um, our our folks that have come on board, we are going to be, we've also expanded some of our service offerings. So we started out with secure communications. Then we went into education. Then we went into helping with audits. Now we're doing stuff in AI, responsible AI, and also post quantum cryptography. So really future proofing ourselves and making sure that we are helping all of our communities that we're part of to ensure that they are also future proofing themselves and protecting themselves.
I love it. Future proofing. That's a
Thank
great one.
you.
Also, on the flip side, Sam, let's talk about some of the challenges or failures that if you're open to sharing.
Okay, well, I mean, there's a bigger list than I think we have time. So, obviously, I think my biggest challenges or failure, I mean, partnerships, right? Who you partner with, that's super important.
Yeah.
I've had a few partnerships that just didn't work out, that didn't align, and decisions that didn't, work in a timely manner. And I also, have to look at, I moved too fast in certain instances, especially in tech space. It's all about speed. It's all about getting things done. Certain partnerships I trusted too easily, right? But these failures taught me discernment. It taught me resilience. Resilience is never allowed, right? We hear about all these victories and wins, but no one hears about the quiet consistency when things feel uncertain, but we still continue to move, right?
Yeah.
And I've learned that alignment is everything, and not every opportunity is meant for you. And protecting your peace is as important as protecting your profit. And I think that's so important. And you need to look at that as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, very, very true. So, Sam, let's talk about something you do outside of work. Do you have any
Okay.
hobbies? How do you disconnect?
Well, being a single mom, I'm super busy with my daughter's activities. So that keeps me busy.
Yeah.
I do a lot of actually reading. I know this, as much as I'm an extrovert, I also like to have my own alone time, my downtime, because as much as I'm busy with work, I'm constantly having to talk, constantly having to communicate, constantly having to be on. I sometimes just want to be off, and
Yeah.
so reading for me is great. I try to meditate. I try to do some dance. I, have some fun times with my daughter, as I said, spending time with my friends and family who energize me. Again, this is so important. Being an entrepreneur, you're constantly battling things. You want peace. And in your downtime, you also want peace. You don't want drama. You don't want ambiguity. You want peace and calm.
Yeah.
So I'm all about that.
Be around people and other organizations who bring that. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Really Sam, where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years from now? Where do you see, let's say, yourself or Xahive going?
Well, I mean, 3 to 5 years from now, I would love to see Xahive, as one of the go-to cyber AI post-quantum companies, not just in Canada, but internationally as well. I don't know, 3 to 5 years, who knows? Maybe I'll step back and I'll have someone else who's much better off, who has the skill sets to scale it at that level. And who knows, maybe I may go back to academia, or I could pursue something in the public sector, private sector, or not for profit. I'm open. But I'm open to anything. But I'm also looking forward to taking Xahive to a point where someone else can take it to the next level. So yeah.
Well, I know whatever happens 3 to 5 years, you're still going to be a continued success.
Oh,
Moving
thank
forward, Sam.
you. And 3 to 5 years, I hope we'll obviously still be in touch, Jarrod,
Oh,
no
yes,
matter which
absolutely.
part of the world. So, yeah.
So, Sam, we're coming near to the end of our
Yeah.
segment now. Is there something that we've touched on that you'd like to elaborate further? Maybe some closing words of wisdom for others?
I think words of wisdom, start before you feel ready, because a lot of entrepreneurs, I find, there's this analysis paralysis, but then they just sit there and they don't actually execute, and that ends up delaying um, your time to market, especially in tech. You want to get out there, you want to be one of the first innovators out there.
Yeah.
The other thing is, as we touched before, build relationships with integrity. It is not a transactional situation. Make sure you realize, how do you make that person feel when you left. That conversation is going to reflect on how that person thinks about you, and whether they end up thinking that there may be some synergies between your company and some other company.
Yeah, and that's so true. We talk a lot about how, it's not how you make people like transactional, it's how you make
Yeah,
them feel at the end of the day.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, don't measure yourself against someone else's timeline. I mean, if I were to do that, I would I would be like in mental health crisis right now. Do you know what I mean? I am
Yeah.
nowhere near anyone else. For me, the biggest thing is always compete with yourself to improve and be a better version of yourself. So do not compete with anyone else. Just continuously grow as a person, and you will see the successes in the timeline that it's supposed to align with.
Oh, I love
And
it. Yeah.
the last thing I'd like to say is, consistency beats intensity every time. Make sure you're always consistent, you're always there, because that's what's going to ensure whether you're successful or not. And that really comes down to discipline, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And unfortunately, some people have it and some people don't. And
Yeah.
that's a fact of reality. But I mean, business, I love being in business because I get to choose what I want to work on when I want to work on it. But you also have to work in order to make sure things are paid. You don't get your 2 weeks vacation. You don't get sick days off. You don't get a nice pension. You got to work hard for everything. But I
Everything. Yeah.
love what I do. I wouldn't be in it for this long if I didn't.
Oh, I love it, Sam. I mean, this is such an inspirational segment to help other people learn about, being an entrepreneur doesn't mean you're going to retire when you're 30 with $5 million.
No.
I hope you do, but most of us aren't. And
Yes.
it's because of that love and that building something. Yeah.
Yes.
And we could talk all day about this stuff. Love it.
Of course.
So, Sam, how can somebody get in touch with you, please?
Well, always you can reach out to me at Sem, SEM, at Xahive.com. So XAHIVE.com. You can give me a call, 613-286-6484, or you can check out our website, of course, is www.xahive.ca, or reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn, as Jarrod knows. So please reach out. Looking forward to connecting and would love to learn from each and every one of you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So today on the Talk to the Fedora segment, I'd like to thank entrepreneurial leader Sem Ponnambalam of Xahive. And we hope that this segment has provided some wisdom that you can use to grow your small business. So please subscribe to the eSAX YouTube channel and be sure to check out the hundreds of other videos across multiple playlists for additional great entrepreneurial content. Sem, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks a million, Jarrod.
Thanks for watching. For more great entrepreneur networking tips, subscribe to our eSAX YouTube channel, because eSAX makes networking work.